We were on a little 2-lane highway, and as we came around a curve, there was a truck coming at us in our lane, and there was no place to go for us. It was either ditch or into traffic. In the split second, the truck made the decision to go off the road, and he went into a cornfield. We could have just been in a head-on accident. What if I had died and she didn't? Don't eat the crayons.
2, 3.
You need a snack, we'll get you a snack.
What are you doing with the crayon?
No crayon eating.
Orange, right, that's an orange crayon.
Is that Minnie?
Yes.
April and Jayne really were looking for a guardianship, something, something to protect their children in the event of their death, to make sure that the kids weren't separated.
I get this phone call out of nowhere from April DeBoer wanting to ask about protections for the children that she and Jayne were raising together.
Dana told them, quite honestly, there's nothing we can do for you. The law is terrible. We can do a guardianship, but that's really not going to protect your rights.
And their story was so heart-wrenching and so compelling on so many different levels. We just knew. We just knew immediately that they were the ones that we had to move forward with. I talked to April and Jayne, and I said, we just should challenge the Michigan Adoption Code altogether. And if the law finds that the prohibition on same-sex couples adopting together is unconstitutional, then you'll both be legal parents and you won't have to worry about any of that paperwork. None of it will matter because you'll both be considered parents in the eyes of the law. And I think they thought about it for a little bit. I think they were a bit taken aback, but after a short time, they said, yeah, we'll do anything we have to in order to protect our children. And so if what we have to do is challenge the law, then that's what we're going to do. I would like to thank you all for coming here today. We are here today to announce that in the federal court in the Eastern District of Michigan, a 1983 action was filed on behalf of these women.
In January of 2012, it was not a popular thing to report on gay and lesbian issues. So I guess it was no surprise that when we had a press conference and alerted all the media that no one showed up except the Free Press.
Because of the Michigan Marriage Act, which amended Michigan's Constitution in 2004, April and Jayne cannot be legally married in the state of Michigan. And as a result, they cannot both be parents to any of their children, who together they've raised since birth.
Would you see the buildings? Yeah.
In the event of Jayne's death, our sons could be removed from the only family that they ever known. Imagine how devastating that would be. Our sons would not only lose both their parents, but they'd lose their sister and possibly their grandparents. The boys could be removed from other family that they've only ever known because we're not allowed to adopt as a couple. All parents want to protect our children, and we're no different. Our children are at risk for losing their family simply because of who their parents are. So when you look up at us and you see a lesbian couple, look beyond that. Look up and see the two parents who are looking to protect their children's future. The fight is about the rights of my beautiful children and countless other people who need the same protection of a two-parent home. So I'm asking that you consider this, to consider my children. This isn't about me, this is about my kids.
April and Jayne were not picked to do a marriage case. They came to Dana to do a guardianship, and then all hell broke loose.
Chaos most of the time, I think.
Yeah. Jayne and I work opposite days. So Jayne works full-time, I work part-time, and so then we work opposite days so that somebody is always home with the kids. And
midnight.
And we work midnights as well. So yeah, so somebody is pretty much always sleeping and one of us is always up with the kids. So we get up, we have dinner together, and then one of us goes off to work and the other proceeds to do bath and bedtime rituals, and we start over the next day. We met through a mutual friend about 15 years ago, and started dating.
Once we both got through nursing school, because it was just horrendous, and things settled down, and we actually were working at the same hospital, so we spent more and more time together.
You know, we became best of friends through it all. We shared kind of the same sense of humor. We you know, we laugh about the same things, and similar things get us upset. The desire for both of us to have a family, I think, truly is what brought us together. In 2009, I received a phone call from one of my coworkers who asked if we were still looking to adopt a baby, and said that a relative of hers was putting a baby up for adoption, and did we want to meet her? And we were like, yeah, for sure. And so we met this woman, just seemed to click right away, and 3 weeks later Nolan was born.
April and Jayne, they always wanted a family. They're no different from, you know, most couples, and that's how they envision their lives. April and Jayne were a little bit different, though, not just in that they were a same-sex couple, so of course they weren't going to be able to reproduce the way that opposite-sex couples do. But here they were, a couple of nurses with these special areas of expertise, and they really wanted to give of themselves in the way that they wanted to help children that not just anybody would have the capacity to be able to take care of, kids with special needs.
Good job.
You know, they were foster parents who took in basically any child in need, had a home with April and Jayne at their house. And I know in some ways I really think the irony is that the state took advantage of that, because they knew that if they had, no matter how sickly a baby was, no matter how many types of ailments or diseases the child was born with, they knew that they could call up April and Jayne and they would not refuse a child in need.
Michigan had the worst laws in the country for same-sex couples and their children. There were no marriage, no civil unions, no domestic partnership. There was no second parent adoption, no equitable parenting rights. There were no benefits as to either partners or their children. So we were down there either at the basement or below with Alabama in terms of the rights for same-sex couples and their children.
Things that people, you know, don't think about, things like simple things, like the fact that I can't legally sign a permission slip for my son to go on a field trip, that I'm listed as an emergency contact person. I'm not listed as a parent on my children's emergency card at school. If something happened to my kid and I take one of the boys into the emergency room, that I can actually be asked to leave because I'm not a legal parent.
Wrong way, Houlihan. Backwards! Your arm's right there.
If something happens to Jayne, I can be asked to leave because she's not my legal spouse. You know, there's so many benefits to this and so many issues under this law that we're fighting for.
Not too close. Maybe a little Vaseline on the lens. So we were arguing the motion in front of Judge Friedman in federal court, motion for summary judgment on the adoption count. And the state was vigorously contesting our efforts to strike down that portion of the adoption code. I think what's important to remember is this was not something that was written into the Michigan Constitution. This was a mere statute. And all we were asking was that same-sex couples be included in this statute.
I explained to, at that time, Dana Nessel and Carol Stanyard that The statute was not unconstitutional as I saw it because it said marriage, but it didn't define marriage, so it wasn't discriminatory. Everybody that was married had a right to this adoption. I said the issue is marriage.
We got an incredible surprise from Judge Friedman, who really suggested to us that the issue was not the adoption code and the fact that the adoption code required April and Jayne to be married to jointly adopt. He suggested that the problem was that they couldn't get married in the first place.
In 2004, the Catholic Church in Michigan, through the Archdiocese of Detroit and 6 other dioceses in the state, contributed $1.2 million to a ballot proposal that banned same-sex marriage in Michigan, made it a constitutional ban against same-sex marriage in Michigan. And that was in response to what was going on nationally. In 2004, we saw same-sex marriage legalized in San Francisco, in the state of Massachusetts. And that prompted gay marriage opponents across the nation to mount these kind of efforts to put this issue on the ballot.
Thank you all for coming here today. On behalf of our clients, April DeBoer and Jayne Rowse, and their 3 wonderful children, Nolan, Ryan, and Jacob, we are proud to announce this morning that an amended complaint will be filed today in the Eastern District of Michigan in regard to their case challenging the constitutionality of the Michigan Adoption Code, which is currently pending before Judge Bernard A. Friedman. In the amended complaint, our clients are now challenging the Michigan Marriage Amendment, which effectively bans same-sex couples from entering into a legal marriage.
Let me just make a couple of comments and then we'll go from there. Everybody set?
Yeah.
Constitutions are meant to be followed. They're not meant to be convenient, and they're not meant to be casually dismissed. That's how I read the Constitution. That's how I do my job. And I think there are many, many other attorneys general across the country who agree with that.
It's about the children. And I cry more easy than April does. But, you know, the fight right along has been about the kids. These children were so blessed, and we were so blessed to find them and connect these families. And we just want the same rights that all the other children have. It doesn't seem fair. Stop it. This is a fight that everybody needs to do for our children. And we love them dearly.
Look, Ryan, you're on TV. Can you see? Right there.
Who's that?
Look. Yeah, Mama. Who's that? Who's next to me?
Mommy.
Yeah, Mommy.
That's right.
Mommy.
Yeah. Put your dress down, please. Thank you. You know, my opinion on that is that nobody has the right to vote on somebody else's rights. It's going to come down to a legal interpretation, and you know, you can't tell your neighbor that they can't love somebody else. That's just not right.
When April and Jayne first started this battle for same-sex marriage, it started off as them wanting to adopt each other's children. But Judge Friedman told them right off the bat, listen, I can't decide this for you. He said, you first need to challenge this ban on same-sex marriage in Michigan. So he ordered a hearing. Well, they were excited when they heard about this hearing. So they go to this hearing that's scheduled at Wayne State University, expecting a decision in their favor. The state was trying to get their case thrown out. They thought the judge has already signaled to us that you know, he may rule in our favor, and they thought something good would happen that day.
We thought that was kind of, he was telegraphing to us that we were going to have good news that day.
Unfortunately for April and Jayne, at the same time that they were trying to legalize same-sex marriage in Michigan, there were a handful of other cases across the country that were dealing with the same issue. And there was no definitive answer out there. Judge Friedman knew this.
I tried to convince him that, you know, it would be helpful maybe to the Supreme Court if he ruled and decided this case first, and he really wasn't having any of that. He just laughed at that.
Of course, it's agonizing. The longer we wait, the less protection our children have, you know, the less legal safety net they have for the next couple of months. But in the long run, we're hoping that, you know, this ends up being a positive thing and that we do get our rights and our family is
a complete family?
Well, I thought he might rule today. I mean, it's a little disappointing, but you know, we can wait, and we're hopeful that after the United States Supreme Court comes down with its decision, he'll have more guidance, and that will prevail after that. I think they have a strong case. Michigan has the worst laws in the country, and this is a pervasively discriminatory policy in Michigan, and I think it's going to be overturned.
Didn't essentially the judge kind of punch? I mean, if the Supreme Court rules, this judge really has no power but to follow the Supreme Court. He's done now.
It depends on what the Supreme Court rules. The Supreme Court could rule on narrower grounds that don't necessarily govern this case, so we'll have to see. The Supreme Court could decide a lot of different things.
Do you think you had a better chance at Judge Friedman or the Supreme Court?
No comment.
Ultimately, the Supreme Court decisions didn't affect Michigan or our law here, and that sent April and Jayne right back in front of Judge Friedman again.
So we were kind of the test case at this point. You know, we've been pending for a very long time, and now was our moment. And what I think we had really expected on both sides is that we were going to have a ruling one way or another, and it was either going to be that we were denied and our case was essentially over, except for the appeals that would ensue, or that our motion was granted, which would mean that we had won at the district court, that we would have marriage equality in Michigan up until the time point that it was appealed.
April and Jayne did not get what they were looking for that day. Instead, Judge Friedman gave them something that they weren't expecting at all. He said, "I want a trial." And this was a pivotal moment in the same-sex marriage movement.
Jayne, how are your clients? Obviously we were all hoping for an immediate ruling today. And I think it would have been nice for them. I think it would have been nice for all the LGBT couples in the state. But they understand it's a very long process. The legal process, is not as quick as some would like. It's not as quick as I would like. But we have faith that we will eventually prevail in this case. And if it takes a few months longer, it takes a few months longer. It's clear there are not any issues in regard to April and Jayne and their parenting, and the state has long conceded that they're good parents. And I would submit that they're excellent parents. So I don't think the court needs to hear that.
To say that we were thrown for a loop when the court denied motions for summary judgment on both sides and ordered us to go to trial, that was something that nobody, and I mean nobody, expected to happen. And we were in a place now where we were so wholly unprepared to go to trial. It was ridiculous. We had no money, we had no witnesses, and we had 4.5 months to get ready for only the third time in the history of the United States that the issue of marriage equality would be put to trial.
Ordinarily, you'd have, a year to get ready for a massive trial like this. We had months, not a year, and the judge had us on a timeline. So it was difficult in every way, just in terms of the massive amount of information that we had to absorb and in terms of the timeline.
To say we had to scramble really, I think, doesn't fully tell the story of what those next 4.5 months were like for all of us. And it was a nightmare.
I thought it was important to go to trial for really several reasons. Number one is I thought there were some issues that had to be tried. Cases around the country were only trying them and saying, well, we believe that nobody tried a case, really. And there's no cases out there that ever tried it. They all did it based upon the constitutional requirement of equal protection and due process. And here they were arguing what was the benefit of the children and how did it affect the children, how did it affect the community. And that was what the state was arguing. And they were arguing so loudly and so forcefully that I thought it was important to discuss those issues.
All right, good God be there, now blessed Jesus, hold my hand.
What about children who don't have any parents and gay couples raise them? These are children who have no other hope, who have come from horrible situations.
That.
Would you?
I understand that. No.
So they're better off in an orphanage than they are with two
They'll
loving.
be better off with a moral upbringing with an orphanage that teaches the Word of God than in a family.
What if they're homeless?
If they're homeless?
you know, God will take care of them. I'm sure you can see many of homeless kids that have made it. I'd rather see a homeless child make it with the Lord than one in a perfectly gay marriage or in a gay family and end up in hell.
Lead me safely to the safe and stand. It is the Christ, the Calvary. This will be my prayer, dear Lord. He said, help me do the best I can. All right, be thy life. To God day and night. Blessed Jesus, hold my hand.
Walking into the court hallway, I mean, there were, you know, gay people all the way through the hallway, women in sensible shoes, you know, just families, and the courtroom was packed. There was overflow for the press and for spectators. It was just an electrified atmosphere. It was so exciting. I had to do the opening statement, and I remember being both excited and afraid to give that opening statement, but in my mind, I think the way I was able to get through it was to picture the kids, the children behind me, and that I was standing up for them, and that I was the one to speak for them, and they were all behind me. And when I visualized it that way, it was easy.
Just in terms of Lisa Brown's testimony.
Oh, well, I think she gave some great testimony. I think it was clear from her testimony that what the state is insisting are reasons that you can legitimately deny a same-sex couple a marriage license are things that are not considered at all for an opposite-sex couple.
There's certain information that is required for a marriage license. Obviously your age, where you live, that sort of thing, but nothing as to whether you're going to have children or if you have children or if you're a good parent. That is irrelevant when it comes to getting a marriage license.
Thank you all for being here and covering this very important moment in the history of our state and in the history of our country. The judge had indicated to us back in October that our clients were entitled to their day in court, and now they've had it. And in fact, they've had several days in court. And we feel more certain now than ever that we have provided a monumental, a compelling case as to why the ban on same-sex marriage and why the Michigan Adoption Code ought to be struck down, and why families like Jayne and April and their children deserve the same rights as all other families in the state.
Jayne and I love our family very much, and you know, nothing says family like a legal document that says that we're married, and everybody recognizes that marriage means family, and that's what we want.
This case was about the Michigan Constitution and a decision that was made by 2.7 million Michigan voters to embrace diversity for kids and families. The voters of Michigan decided that a mom and a dad are important and they're not interchangeable. Attorney General Schuette, we were in the courtroom today in the last 2 weeks defending the people's decision. This is a very important issue, an important discussion having here in this courthouse and across the country. But we are defending the voice of the people and believe this should be decided by the people.
You can't just throw something out, as the state did, to say that the outcomes for children that are raised by same-sex couples is worse somehow than the outcome for children raised by opposite-sex couples. You can't throw that out without having facts to support, your theory. But let's face it. There's been decade after decade after decade of studies that were done to show that we were right about this issue and that the state was wrong. But I just think that not even being an expert in sociology, in psychology, in child welfare, it was still really very easy to ridicule the arguments. But at the end of the day, you had to do that using expert witnesses. You couldn't just make the argument because Judge Friedman wanted a trial because he wanted his ruling to be fact-based. And that's what he was looking for us to provide him with the facts to base his ruling on. And so that's what we did. So for us to have to compile the type of experts that we needed in the time frame that we needed to have it done with absolutely no money in our pockets, which at that time we had nothing, it was an endeavor that I hope to never have to replicate.
The day of Judge Friedman's decision, we were all kind of waiting around. We believed that it was going to come down that day, but it was getting later and later in the day.
We had called the court 100 times and they kept telling us, you know, it's not out, just wait, it's not out, wait, it'll come when it comes.
It got to be, I think, like 4:55, and all of us were literally looking at our screens to see if PACER, which is the court's notification system, whether PACER was going to come out with a decision.
But it should come to my email.
Yeah, I know.
That's the thing that doesn't make any sense. All of these come to my email.
Minute by minute went by hour, looking, you know, at our watches. And every time, you know, there'd be the ping of a text message coming in to anybody, I just remember everybody grabbing their cameras and waiting to see what it was.
No. The world is loading.
And it got to be 5 o'clock. And I was so disheartened because I thought, I can't believe that Judge Friedman's not going to issue his decision this week, you know?
Waiting for response.
It's a little slow, so you have to give it just a minute. Oh, come on. No.
There's a connection problem.
Is this right here?
Yeah.
Hey, it's our trust me when I tell you, it's probably our computer. It's not up yet. We've got it. We've got it. Yeah, we've got it.
Okay. It is hereby declared that Article 1, Section 25 of the Michigan Constitution and its implementing statutes are unconstitutional because they violate the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution.
Oh my God! So awesome! It's unbelievable.
2.5 years coming.
2.5 years coming, and we got our day in court, and we won. We first step, and I can't even talk.
Can I read this last paragraph? It's so great.
Read this last paragraph.
This is the conclusion. In attempting to define this case as a challenge to the will of the people, state defendants lost sight of what this case is truly about. People. No court record of this proceeding could ever fully convey the personal sacrifice of these two plaintiffs who seek to ensure that the state may no longer impair the rights of their children and the thousands of others now being raised by same-sex couples. It is the court's fervent hope that these children will grow up to understand the integrity and closeness of their own family and its concord with other families in their community and in their daily lives. Today's decision is a step in that direction and affirms the enduring principle that regardless of whoever finds favor in the eyes of the most recent majority, the guarantee of equal protection must prevail.
Flipping through the opinion to see whether he had ordered a stay. I think that's what all of us were looking at, to see whether or not he had ordered a stay along with his opinion.
Honestly, I have to finish reading it, but I don't see a stay attached right here. I will tell you, I don't see one, but that doesn't mean that there isn't one.
Where's the stay? Where's the stay? And I remember saying this live on TV and being very worried that I had just missed it and I was giving incorrect information out. But I remember saying on TV, I don't see a stay attached. I don't see a stay. And sure enough,
I was so convinced that it was a violation of equal protection that I said, you know, that's why I didn't issue a stay. How can you issue a stay when you're so convinced that there's a violation of equal protection? So we intentionally, or I did intentionally, ask that it be published at 5 o'clock, after 5 o'clock, 5:01 or 5:02 on Friday, hoping that we would at least get a weekend in of that being the law.
We have been called together as witnesses and to support and to hold this couple in our loving embrace as they make their vows to each other.
So we met in 1994, 19 years ago. I put an ad in the Metro Times. Stephanie answered my ad.
You know, Anna's my rock, and she's my son's mother. So, I mean, this is a huge day for us and for our family.
We got married in Canada when it became legal in 2004, and here we are today doing it again, finally for the last time, in Michigan, where we've lived our whole lives. This day means to me validation and a feeling of being whole finally after all these years.
And that we're no longer second-class citizens, that we can be treated just like everyone else and that our relationship is valid.
In the 4 hours they were allowed to get married, some over 300 couples got married. It was stayed at about noon or 1 o'clock. And at that point, we knew that, of course, that the state was going to appeal to the Sixth Circuit.
Do you think the marriage amendment is discriminatory?
My job is to 2.7 million citizens voted for this amendment, and I think their will should stand and be respected.
Are we ready? All right. Press, you ready? Check mic. All right. We all know that on March 21st, 2014, Judge Bernard Friedman of the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Michigan overturned and ruled unconstitutional the 2004 voter-approved amendment to the Michigan Constitution that defines marriage as between one man and one woman. We denounce this attempt to destroy the very basis for which our society exists, and that's family and marriage.
I want you to know that the fight is not only on the inside, but the fight is also in the church. We've got to tell the preachers that are standing up for homosexuality that either you're with God or you're against Him. And if you are against God, you're against me. We cannot promote any more preachers that are promoting sin. We cannot promote any more pastors that are allowing homosexuals to run their church, to be over their children. We must step back and tell them, like my cousin told a preacher, you are my enemy. Anybody that's an enemy of God is an enemy of mine. And so we as preachers, we've got to stand, and now the fight is on. Somebody say the fight is on. The fight is on. You let them know that we are mobilizing. Let them know that we're not sitting on our hands, twiddling our fingers. You let them know that the fight is on.
We always knew that the case had to go through the Sixth Circuit to eventually make it to the Supreme Court. It's no secret that the Sixth Circuit is a very conservative court.
Larry and I are proud to represent you in this fight. These are your cases, okay? And tomorrow when we go into that courtroom, you will be there with us.
Good morning, everyone. We're here in Cincinnati covering the highly anticipated same-sex marriage travel, which involves 4 states: Michigan, Ohio, Tennessee, and Kentucky. It's an unusual situation because the Sixth Circuit typically doesn't hear 4 states at one time. What are we going to hear different today that we haven't heard already? I think the state's going to take a different approach in defending it because they lost at the lower court level. So the will of the voters here is really going to get put to the test, as are the rights of gay people to marry who they want, and that's what they're asking for.
I think, the thing is we're very happy that today is here and that the case is finally going to be heard in the next court up, and we're cautiously optimistic that things are going to go our way, but we're really happy just to be here.
I'm a pastor and also a friend of Citizens for Community Values.
And I'm here today to pray that the court would uphold the constitutional amendment in our state, along with the 3 other states, to preserve marriage between one man and one woman.
You can tell the news crew from Detroit, they're pushy.
I know, you just gotta go.
What did you guys think? Being in there, how did it feel?
You know, it was the next step in the process. It was a lively courtroom, and we can't make any predictions. We're just going to wait and see.
It was, give and take. I think that, what it tells us is that we've gone a long way and we have a long way to go. I think it was a lively argument. Oral arguments are often like this. It's part speech, part conversation, and part root canal. And this was no different, so.
Thanks, Bill.
It's a disappointment. I think it's hard not to put a tear or two out there.
I don't mind the tears. I don't want us to want anger. Nobody wants an angry lesbian out there. And nobody's going to say anything nasty about Sutton. No one's going to. No. So the Sixth Circuit eventually decided that the marriage bans were constitutional. Judge Sutton wrote about the concept of hearts and minds, and that it was up to the people to decide these things. It wasn't really a legal position. It was more a kind of visceral position that he, articulated in that. There was a lively and valiant dissent by Martha Daughtry, which we appreciated, and Judge Cook voted along with Judge Sutton. So the decision was to uphold the ban based upon both due process and equal protection.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I have to say that on behalf of April and Jayne and their legal team, certainly we were hoping to be addressing everyone about the decision under more joyous circumstances. We are not. We are disappointed with the decision, but we remain determined. And I can say absolutely 100% that we intend to appeal our case to the United States Supreme Court.
I believe at that point, the Sixth Circuit majority opinion was the only one in the country in which the bans had been upheld. So there, all the cases were kind of charging towards the Supreme Court, and because we were the only case on appeal in the circuit courts which had lost, we kind of went to the head of the class.
There has been nothing easy about this case.
There's nothing been easy about this case. I mean, I think the hardest part of it is just the ups and downs. You're going through the extreme highs of, we've won, and the extreme lows of, it's been appealed, and you have to keep working at it, and it's been a long road of fighting and of educating people. Really, that's what we've done, is educated people. People didn't know we couldn't adopt together. People didn't know that, we couldn't get married. I guess I just want people to realize that we're just a regular family looking for protections, but that this was not our intentions. Again, accidental activists, and that two people who believe in something so important like adoption rights or parental rights to children can really just change the future.
Did you know that caterpillars like to eat milkweed, she said? I brought them for you, I said.
He just said, don't leave your desk, is what he said. And I mean, he didn't make reference to any specific cases or the marriage cases as opposed to any other cases, because of course he covers the Supreme Court on all issues. But he said he's kind of, he said he doesn't know why else he would have been told that.
There's our messenger.
Wait. It looks like there's been a tweet. Hold on a second. Wait, let me play her back.
Same-sex marriage case petitions are granted.
April? All four were granted. Okay? So all four were granted is what I'm hearing right now. Hi everybody. Thank you so much for coming here tonight. On behalf of the DeBoer Rowse family and their legal team, and what used to be Michigan Marriage Challenge, but now you can see is known as National Marriage Challenge, we are very excited to announce to you tonight that our case has officially been accepted by the United States Supreme Court. Anyway, I really want to thank our amazing 501c3 National Marriage Challenge. It's really just been an incredible whirlwind. It's been an incredible journey. The people who assisted us, the people who helped us to financially drive this case, some of the most well-intentioned and magnanimous members of my community that I'm very proud of. And these are just incredible people that I actually met at my local Plymouth library. These were members of the Plymouth Democratic Club who, prior to this, you would see them collecting trash on the side of the highway or doing clothing drives or book drives. And I will tell you, for a long time, I thought maybe they were all doing community service out of the 35th District Court. But come to find out, they were just really great people who care about their community. We never would have been able to go to the Supreme Court had it not been for our wonderful fundraisers.
Well, on an emotional level, this is a very emotional case because here all they have set out to do, all they continue to want to do, is to protect their children and protect their family unit. And of course, the right to marry would be the greatest protection that they could afford. And they're beautiful people. I have had the honor of being able to spend time with them and their children. I see what wonderful, loving, caring, nurturing parents they are to their children and how much their children absolutely adore them and are so fortunate to have them as parents. April and Jayne should not have to wage this battle alone because we all have a stake in the outcome. Love can't wait. Couples like April and Jayne who just want to protect their family and be afforded all of the rights that other couples enjoy should not be forced to wait any longer to enjoy the right to marry.
What an honor and a privilege it is to be asked to come out here and to have the support and the encouragement from Gloria Allred, who is such a pioneer in this area, as well as her very courageous clients, Robin and Diane. Robin and Diane, with Gloria's help, were the first same-sex couple to be married here in Los Angeles County. So we, in many ways, feel as though our case, our Michigan case, which again is scheduled to be heard by the Supreme Court of the United States on April the 28th of this year, we see that as bringing the work of Gloria and Robin and Diane full circle. Their case, in part, started the movement many, many years ago and certainly accomplished a great deal here in the state of California, which spread throughout the country. In our case, we hope will be
the end of that circle, will be the final mark in history in regard to marriage equality and same-sex marriage.
It was a challenge to raise one child for me, and, although I think she turned out pretty great. And my hat's off to you with 4. And you know, this is the case.
Yes.
This is the case where it needs to be decided.
To think that I'd ever put my foot in the door of a federal court was crazy. But now to think that I'm actually going to be walking into the U.S. Supreme Court is just insane. Nervous, excited, and just looking forward to the answer.
People camped out for days to get into the court. I had argued once before back in the 80s. This was nothing like that.
I'm getting a little punchy. I've been out here since 8 o'clock yesterday morning.
I know. There was.
It eventually was decided that Mary Bonata was going to argue for both Michigan and Kentucky in the Supreme Court.
I know they're going to kick ass and win, and they've got a great legal team. And I'm just, tomorrow I'm going to be hosting them on the Hill after the Supreme Court, and I want my colleagues to just meet 2 of the most fabulous women and know what this is really about.
You bow with me. Lord, we come before you this morning as people coming from very different walks of life, individual stories, and incredible journeys. We ask today, like the prophet Amos asked centuries ago, let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. We trust in you today to bring about justice and equality. You brought each of us this far, and we know you won't leave us now. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. We made it. 8 o'clock, here we are.
You know, it was just such a magnificent moment that I will absolutely never forget. And of the many things I remember about it, of course, you know, one was the sort of insane way that we were led into the courthouse, because there was a lot of concern by a lot of people that there might be, you know, a gun person out there, you know, someone who wanted to harm the plaintiffs or the attorneys.
I think we're going to have no problem just getting up the steps. We may have to go through the crowd, but I just wanted people to stay together.
All you need is your ID. You have your ID, right? Yeah.
And it was a really anxious time, because as we're being led into the courthouse, you know, there's protesters out there.
You need to stop being homos. You need to stop being a sodomite. You need to get straight.
But there were tons of people in support as well. I mean, it was just an incredible moment as we all were being led in there.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eternal life? Eternal life? No, you don't. I'm good. I got eternal. That's all eternal life. We got that. We got that.
Homosexuals, and you're supporting homosexuality, God has a message for you. And guess what that message is? It's Proverbs 17:15. It says this. Sir, would you mind not waving the flag in my face? Sir. We're from Michigan and couldn't be prouder. You can hear us. Oh, yell a little louder. We're from Michigan. Couldn't be prouder. You can hear us.
It was just such a magnificent moment that I will absolutely never forget.
It was just electric. It was just an amazing experience to be there. I sat next to Mary. I was like directly, you know, Justice Kennedy was in front of me, and Justice Ginsburg and Justice Kagan. It was just amazing. I was actually grateful at that moment that I wasn't arguing, because then I could take it all in and just enjoy it. Watching the justices question the state's attorney was a joy. It was absolute joy. It was theater. It was just amazing.
My name is April DeBoer. We are the Michigan plaintiffs. We took this case on for protection of our children. And we stand before you one step closer to being a legalized, recognized family in the state of Michigan.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll hold it. Okay, I will. You got it?
Wheels off. Which side?
side. This side? I can do it. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Firstly, I want to thank everybody, all our great supporters from the state of Michigan for supporting us throughout this entire case. I want to thank the best clients of all time, April and Jayne, for so incredibly representing our case and this cause. My incredible co-counsels, who were so incredible to work with throughout the course of this case. The most amazing attorneys, not just in the state of Michigan, but I think in all the United States. Jayne, Bob, Ken, and of course Mary. And thank you to everybody, but I have two questions to ask everybody. Number one is, are you ready for marriage equality in Michigan? And throughout the United States? And I have one more question to ask. A lot of lawyers, if 5 out of the 9 justices of the Supreme Court agree, will you be applicant number 2 on our license for the state of Michigan for a marriage license? Yes.
Obviously, everybody has their, their fun story about how they got engaged to their spouse, but I still, I'll stick with mine.
Jayne! Everybody go out to the car. Oh, that'd be awesome if they actually did something like put their socks on. Well, if they're not out in 5 minutes, I'm leaving without. OCD is having an issue. Because we're bringing what? Sexy back.
How are ya? Good. Good. Good to see ya. Hey, how are ya?
Oh, good.
We got to go up, so.
Even though I felt so confident going into the arguments, I felt as though there was no way that we could possibly lose this case. And I thought there'd be no way that the Supreme Court had turned down the writs of cert on all of these other circuits where the appellate courts had found in favor of the petitioners or of the plaintiffs. And then for us to lose, it didn't make any sense to me. I mean, I thought we absolutely have to be winning this, or else why would they have taken it in the way that they did? But I have to say, after I left the arguments, I was very confused and very uncertain. And I really thought at that time, wow, there's a chance we could lose this.
I was very excited, and also slightly, again, like I might throw up. It could happen live on camera. But we're really excited about it, so, and we're hopeful. We're very hopeful.
What? Oh, marriage? What?
They're going to start with it?
They're going to start with it?
What? They didn't even say how many boxes.
4.
I was in my car on my way to a doctor's appointment for my wife, and my phone rang, and it was Judy Levy. Said, "The Supreme Court just ruled."
Here we go.
Oh, my God!
We're getting a member required to take license and marriage between two
Yes, that someone might.
Let's see, if they do strict scrutiny, then I'm going to cry.
Oh my gosh! We did it! You did it!
speaking right now.
Good morning. Our nation was founded on a bedrock principle that we are all created equal. This morning, the Supreme Court recognized that the Constitution guarantees marriage equality. In doing so, they've reaffirmed that all Americans are entitled to the equal protection of the law. That all people should be treated equally, regardless of who they are or who they love. It's a victory for gay and lesbian couples who have fought so long for their basic civil rights. It's a victory for their children, whose families will now be recognized as equal to any other. Today, we can say, in no uncertain terms, that we've made our union a little more perfect. That's the consequence of a decision from the Supreme Court, but more importantly, it is a consequence of the countless small acts of courage of millions of people across decades who stood up. Folks who were willing to endure bullying and taunts and stayed strong and came to believe in themselves and who they were. And slowly made an entire country realize that love is love.
That's right.
What a reminder of what Bobby Kennedy once said about how small actions can be like pebbles being thrown into a still lake. Ripples of hope cascade outwards and change the world. Those countless, often anonymous heroes, they deserve our thanks. They should be very proud. America should be very proud. Thank you.
The Supreme Court's landmark decision legalizing gay marriage in all 50 states. The president saying that on a day like this, justice.
We are going right over there.
None of us ever thought this day would come, at least not in our lifetime. I know I certainly didn't. I'm pretty sure Carol didn't. Dana didn't. I don't think Bob and Ken even thought about
it. Throughout this case, I've been thinking about, I keep coming back to a quote from Martin Luther King that means a lot to me, that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. And today, we can say that that arc is a rainbow.
Did you just say you have a marriage to plan?
I think she said that. It was a buzzing in my ear. I think I heard it.
Yeah, I do believe we have a marriage to plan and some children to adopt. Thank you. Yes. Wait, this isn't where I say I do, right? Well, first and foremost, congratulations.
Yes, you're engaged. You're getting married. Wow.
We're engaged.
Welcome to the whirlwind of wedding planning.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a whirlwind. Right.
We do bake everything from scratch. We use imported Belgian chocolate, French cocoa, Madagascar bourbon vanilla.
Very good. That is yummy. That was good. I'll give you a thumbs up on that. You know, that right
I know in
there
your
is-
email you were saying maybe something more simple.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. This is darling.
I like
oh, look at the back.
Okay. I think it's great on you.
I like it.
How do you feel?
It's comfortable.
It is comfortable. It is very comfortable.
Very good.
I like it.
Okay, Scarlett S has a little bit of feedback.
Hold on. You're gonna rip it.
Yeah.
Easy. Oh, look at that.
It fits you very
perfectly.
nice. Yeah. Oh, that is very elegant.
Yes.
Very elegant.
That is very pretty.
Turn around. Put it down.
Put the dress.
Oh, you're so pretty.
Very pretty.
It's, you know, fitting for a formal event and for a wedding, so I hope they like it.
Here, have
Yeah,
get your little red one that Jayne
look
picked out
at it. It's gonna be like mine.
Yes, it is. Look just exactly like yours.
Awesome. Hey, Mommy, I have the flower on my thing. Awesome.
You don't even have to look in the mirror. Just put it on like you're putting on chapstick.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the easiest deal.
You're on my dress.
Damn it.
You mean that dress. We're hiding.
Wow, 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 the wheels on the bus go wow, 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 all through the town.
Being in April Jayne's wedding obviously was very emotional. I mean, it was the culmination of everything that we had worked for, and somehow watching those kids come down the aisle with their parents. They were so beautiful, and the whole thing was so lovely, and I realized that, you know, this is it. This is what we worked for.
Thank you.
I love you, honey.
I love you too.
What a sight. You know, I walked into this room tonight, and I got here early, and I've been in this room for a while, and this is a room of family. I think everybody, not only in this room, but everybody under a Constitution, every citizen in the United States that appreciates what our forefathers have done in the equal protection, every one of those owes you a big debt of gratitude, and I thank you, and I'm sure they do too.
Little did I know 15 years ago when I met you that you would have brought me 4 beautiful kids and dragged me into the United States Supreme Court.
You're welcome.
Thank you, yes.
It's a perfect wedding.
I am honored to soon be your legal wife. I've been your wife for many years now, but being your legal wife means everything to me and everything to our kids. I really don't know what to say. You are my best friend. You are my, hold on one second. Dad. Potty.
The show stealer. Right there.
Wait. You won't need the rings before I get back, will you?
No, we're
okay.
And so you see a day in our life. April,
I knew by the second date, well, maybe the third, that we were destined to be together. And though it took a few years to convince you, I think I did. And we helped each other through so many things, nursing school, children, just everyday life. And I honestly cannot imagine my life without you, or without any of these guys. And I promise to take care of both of us forever and always. I love you forever.
With this ring,
With this ring,
I promise you
I promise you
all of my love.
all of my love.
Say, I, Riley.
I like.
I, Ryan.
I'm Ryan.
Take you, Mommy.
You, Mommy.
Take
you, Mama.
Mommy. To be my legal mommy. To be my legal mommy. To be my legal mommy.
To be my legal mommy.
And I love you forever.
I love you forever. I love you forever.
All right, boys, your turn. Oh, your turn. Ready? Okay.
Now I have to get up.
Your mom gets up. Mama,
Mama,
we take you
we take you
to be our legal mama.
to take for you to be our legal mama.
Jacob, we take you
And we take you
to be our legal mama.
be our legal mama.
And we love you forever.
I love you forever.
I love you forever.
I love you forever.
Modern day heroes, April and Jayne, DeBoer, Rowse. And they know how to do it right, because now we're going to cut the cake. Yes. Yes, Jacob is with me. So we're going to move over towards the cake table.
All right, Jake, here you go.
Good time.
That's a nice cut.
Okay.
Oh, you got icing. All right, ready? Left arm numbness, squeezing in through here.
Do not forget those, because that's your signs and symptoms of a heart attack unique to you. Okay?
Yeah, it is. It's very serious. I mean, she had a heart attack. Now it's, stepping up and doing all the rehab and changing the way we live and changing the way we eat so that it doesn't happen. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Definitely threw me for a loop. Still holding strong. I've only broke down once.
When I found out that she had had a heart attack, I just thought, I cannot imagine having gone through all of this struggle, this 4-year struggle for them to be married and for them to finally get the second parent adoptions, which they so badly needed to avoid this scenario to begin with. This was the nightmare. This is the thing, this was the horrible disposition that we had feared all along, and why they needed these second parent adoptions so badly, because if something were to happen to Jayne, then, where does that leave the kids that are only hers at that point? Where does it leave Nolan and Jacob?
Mommy doesn't feel good, so she's in the hospital, okay? All right? So she's probably going to be here tomorrow and maybe even the next day. We're not sure, okay? So if you want me to, I'll have her call you tonight and say goodnight, as long as she's in her room and she feels okay, okay?
Okay.
Mama will try to do that.
I'll try to do it. I can't promise.
Okay?
I want to see Mommy.
You can't, honey, because you got a cold. So hopefully she'll come home tomorrow. We'll have her call you, okay? You want me to have her call you?
See, this is why
Okay.
we didn't need a lot of stress, okay? This is
All
why
right.
we didn't need a lot of
Come here.
stress. Seriously.
Is she okay?
When we get home. Okay? Thanks, puppy. I'm so tired of being in here.
I'm sure. I don't know what you're gonna do though. There's not gonna be any noise in the house.
That's okay. There's football tomorrow.
There's football tomorrow. Oh God.
Sunday.
Oh, not football.
You know how great that is? Do you know how great that is? There's football. Did you miss me?
Yes. Are you at the doctor?
I did go to the doctor.
Why?
Because Mommy didn't feel good. Because that's where they did work on me.
That's pretty
Go, Mommy, to the doctor.
She's all better now? Did the doctor fix her?
Yeah.
Awesome sauce.
I saw your doctor today. How cool is that?
When I met them, you know, it was just 3 children. It was Nolan and Ryan and Jacob. But during the course of our case, it expanded to include Riley and Kennedy.
Oh, don't hit.
I'm Judge McDonald.
Nice to meet
you. Oh, looks so nice. Raise your right hand. Can you raise your right hand?
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide in this matter before this court is the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
We do. Can you say yes? Yes. Good job. Okay, you can put your hand down now.
It is our great privilege to have Your Honor preside over these proceedings.
I'm honored to do it, and I can't think of a more precious thing. What a long road, and with that, let's get started. Are you willing to assume those responsibilities and commitments as a parent?
Yes, I am.
Is there any reason, either physically or mentally, that you cannot assume these obligations?
No, there's not.
April, do you have any hesitations or reservations whatsoever?
None at all.
All right, based upon the record and recommendations in the file, and those made here today, the court finds that granting the petitions for adoption is in the best interest of Jacob and Nolan, and from this day forward, April, you are their parents. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you understand that if your request is granted, Riley and Rianne will be your heirs at law? Do you understand that you will be called upon to provide love, affection, and encouragement?
I do.
Do you have any hesitations or reservations whatsoever?
No.
Based upon the record and the report and the testimony here today, the court finds that granting the petitions for the adoption is in the best interest of Riley and Rianne, and from this day forward, you are their parent. Congratulations. Do either of you have any hesitations or reservations whatsoever?
No.
Based upon the report and recommendation in this file It is my pleasure to find that granting the petition for adoption is in the best interest of Kennedy, and from this day forward, you are her parents. Congratulations.
Never imagined that this day would come, and here we are. We're a legal family, and what we fought for so long is finally here. And there's relief and happiness and just a lot of joy. I mean, it's finally over, and we're finally a legal protected family.
Congratulations, April and Jayne. Thank you so much for everything that you did, and we wish you a world of happiness.
You are amazing mommies. What things you have done for your children.
April and Jayne had to fight so hard to do this and make so many sacrifices, and what a wonderful thing this is, and it's such an honor to be able to celebrate with them.
We stalked them.
Oh my gosh. I don't think you can say that.
Ladies, congratulations, you're married. And you've opened the door for so many other people to be married. I can't believe it. Enjoy the next 2 weeks, enjoy the 2 weeks after that, and enjoy the 20 years after that as well. Never stop enjoying each other. Never forget who's around to help you whenever you need it. Thank you.
I'm really happy for you, and I'm very proud of you, and I am honored to call you my friend, and I love you.
I consider it the most significant civil rights case of our time, and their name now will go down in history, and they deserve all accolades for fighting and winning.
If it wasn't for the kids, I don't know if we'd all be standing where we are today.
And good luck with all those kids. And if you need a babysitter, call Chris.
Oh, well, they are such wonderful, warm people, and I just wish them all the happiness and love in the world. They're great.
I'm going to do my best and everything I can to make a documentary that will make you proud and it will tell your story. And thank you for sharing your family, and I love you both so much.
I would raise my glass to you, but it's empty.
In a nutshell, because of you two, we are now legally husbands, and we don't even know how to say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.